Welcome, parents, to Masuda Middle School 2021 7th grade coding with Mr. Hall. It's back to school night. I'm a former Fountain Valley School District student. I went to both Newland and Courageous, graduated from Mater Dei High School and Cal State Long Beach with my teaching credential. This is my 27th year of teaching. This year I'm teaching social studies and coding. Have in the past taught woodshop, math, science, English, PE, yearbook, and a film class. Coding, it's the beginning of all things internet. We're going to be learning HTML as well as Python and looking at coding logic and even creativity. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. We're going to make web pages and the kids will learn a lot, I'm sure. Expectations for Zoom. Remember, every Monday is going to be on Zoom. So they need to be on time, they need to keep their camera on and their microphones off unless they've been called on, and they need to be paying attention because it's very distracting at home with so many things going on. It's easy to let the minds wander, so they need to focus in. We're going to be using Florida Virtual School. That's our textbook. It's online. It's going to have all the readings they need and assignments, but you can ignore the grade book on Florida Virtual School. Grades will be on School Loop. I will put them on School Loop. Try to do it in a reasonable amount of time, but if you're looking for their grade, it's on School Loop. Expectations for the classroom. Remember, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, some of them will be physically at school. So here again, they need to be on time. They need to keep their distance from one another and stay seated in the classroom. They need to pay attention, of course, and they need to bring their Chromebook to class every day charged up. They're not going to be able to plug in anywhere and still keep social distancing, so they need to bring their Chromebook to school already charged up. Discipline in my classroom, we have positives and negatives. The positives, there's an academic student of the month every month, and royal recognition. Those are announced over the announcements, and it's a lot of fun. The expect excellence, that's at the end of every trimester for the kids with a 3.0 or above, and take a second cards. If I see something positive in the class and I want the student to encourage that kind of behavior, I want to write out take a second card and give it to Mrs. Adams, and she'll mail it off to the student. That's just a fun little way to acknowledge positives, and they're kind of a surprise in the mail that kids appreciate. She gives them to teachers every now and again, and I definitely know I appreciate it when I see one. Discipline, the negatives, unfortunately, I do give warnings. I'll write a student's name on the board. If at the end of the period there's no checks, I just erase it. It's forgotten, no harm, no foul. It's just a warning. Usually it's talking. Almost always it's talking. Talk. If I have to talk to them again, I give a check. That's 10 minutes after school with me. I do the crosswalk in the front of the school, the big sign, and help the kids cross safely. So they would have to come out and just spend 10 minutes with me. It's a minor inconvenience, but that's exactly what it's for. It just inconveniences them to remind them that they need to usually not talk in class, disrupt. If in the same class there's 2 checks, then I write a detention, and it's 30 minutes after school through the whole school system. Mr. Plosky arranges that, and he's got 2 different classrooms where they'll go after school, and there again, it's an inconvenience. 30 minutes isn't that big a deal, but it gets the message across that whatever they're doing needs to change. It's in my 27 years of teaching, maybe once or twice I've given 3 checks. That's a referral. It's sent through Mr. Plosky, and that's an hour after school. The child has to have a meeting with Mr. Plosky. I give a phone call or an email home explaining what happened. It doesn't happen very often, but it usually just means there's something going on and the kid just needs some help. All right, so School Loop, as I mentioned before, all assignments and grades are on School Loop. It's the best way for us to communicate. You can email me. It's essentially like looking at my grade book for your student, opening it up and looking at every assignment, looking at the grade on the assignment. Why is my kid getting this grade? Well, you can see because they did this, 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 and this, and got those scores, or they didn't turn something in, or whatever it is. You can tell from School Loop. A 0 means they didn't turn something in, and that's usually pretty devastating, especially in the beginning, to an overall grade. So Masuda has its own website, masuda.fesd.us. That is a good source of information for what's going on at the school. If you want to email me directly, halls@fesd.us. My last name's Hall, my first name's Scott, so that's why it's a last name and then first initial. So any teacher here at school, that's their email address, their last name. As long as you know their first name, it's the first initial @fesd.us. I will take, the students are expected to turn assignments in on time. Lately, I have not had a specific due date thing specifically for assignments, so students have been working at their own pace. I will sync that up, and students will have due dates on their assignments. I do allow assignments to be turned in late up to the chapter test. Students may redo assignments for full credit up to the chapter test. Once a student has taken the chapter test, or maybe it's turned for coding, it's probably the final project of the unit. That chapter is closed and no further makeups or redos will be accepted. They'll know far ahead of time when the deadline is, so that I tell kids it's like studying for the big game, or practicing for the big game after the game. If you're trying to turn in work after the test, after the project's due, it's not going to work. You have to prepare ahead of time, not afterwards. All right, the word of the day is fluid. Things will change. It's guaranteed, but we all need to be flexible, and no one has learned that more than I at this. So, it's going to be a great year here at Masuda. Kids are going to learn. They're going to grow. It's going to be terrific. Thanks very much for your time.